I paid $38,000 toward my parents' mortgage, replaced the roof, fixed the plumbing. They said the house would be mine. Then I found the will, everything went to my brother. I didn't argue, I just walked away and quietly did something they never saw coming. I wasn't looking for the well, I was looking for the modem. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and my mom had called me in a panic again. The Wi-Fi was down, and apparently that was a crisis because Adam had a Zoom interview. I didn't ask why he didn't. Just fix it himself. Already knew Adam doesn't do tech stuff or bills, or work or life, really, so I drove across town to the house. I grew up in the house. I paid for the house. I fixed tile by tile and walked in like I always did. My mom greeted me at the door like I was the IT department. She didn't pay. Oh, thank God. He's freaking out, for course. I headed straight to the dining room. Crouched by the cabinet where they keep their ancient rooted duct tape to a surge protector from 1997, and there was tucked behind a stack of home and garden magazines from a decade ago, a thick cream-colored folder with the state plan, and all written in dramatic black lettering like it was the script to a soap opera. I didn't go rifling through it. I didn't have to. It was half open, and the first page was already poking out like a bad secret trying to confess. I stared at it for a second, long enough to think, what if I didn't look? What if I just fixed the wife? I went back to pretending everything was fine, but pretending takes energy, and I was tired. I sat down, flipped it open, and began reading. Oh, and by reading I mean skimming, because by line 3 my stomach had already dropped. House set to 18 Elm Street, to Adam Baker savings and retirement funds, to Adam Baker vehicle, jewelry, assets, and belongings, to Adam Baker final notes. We trust that a daughter Emily will or stand and continue to be the strong independent woman she's always been. No mention of the 6 years of mortgage payments. I made no mention of the roof. I replaced the water heater. I paid for the bathroom. I retired myself after watching 40 YouTube videos. Just a casual sentence like I was the family Labrador who wouldn't mind if they. I gave my bet away. I sat there for a minute blinking. Then I laugh came out dry and cold like something cracking inside me. My mom walked in just as I was closing the folder. Did you fix it? She asked the wife. I asked, still smiling. Yeah. Adam's freaking out. He says, it's for this remote thing with a more getting startup or design. I don't know. I nodded. It's working now. She kept her hands like I performed a magic trick. You're the best. I held up the folder. I found this. She froze, her hands slowly lowered. Oh, that you weren't supposed to. Well, it's just something your father and I worked on a while ago. Yeah, I read it. I said casually like I was commenting on a weather app. Nice touch on the whole Emily will understand part. She shifted awkwardly. Honey, it's not, don't take it like that. We just thought. You're always so stable. And Adam, he's well, you know you. If I knew Adam was 27 and still got emergency money from our parents to cover his vapor subscription and vintage sneakers. I knew he dropped out of 2 majors and blamed both on bad vibes. I also knew he couldn't make toast without setting off the smoke alarm. And the house, I asked the one-eyed. Been paying off? She smiled nervously, as if my tone was a little too sharp for someone who just learned they'd been cut out of a future they helped fund. We assumed you'd have your own place by then. This house, it's more about giving Adam something steady, you know. A foundation, right? Because I don't need one. I just build them. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. She forgot how to breathe. It's not meant to be unfair. No, of course not. I said, standing. It's just logical. The person who covers the bills doesn't need ownership. That's how it works, right? And thanks for the reminder. I said, why? Face back, I'll see myself out. She didn't follow me, didn't call my name. I walked to my car feeling like someone had gently slipped a knife between my ribs. While thanking me for being so dependable that night, I sat in my apartment, tiny, rented and cold in the winter because the landlord believed heating was optional. And I stared at the ceiling until it blurred. Then I made decision. I didn't post a dramatic quote on Facebook. I didn't drive back and demand an apology that would imply I thought they were worth the effort. Instead, I pulled out my laptop and did 3 things. 1, canceled the monthly transfer I'd set up to magically make the mortgage disappear, my unofficial rent payment for a house I didn't live in and apparently want about to inherit, to pull the plug on every auto payment, water, electricity, trash, even the internet I'd been quietly funding while Adam focused on finding himself. 3, deleted the shared Google Drive where I stored scan bills, tax documents, and maintenance Kurtz, because apparently I'd mistaken myself for their unpaid office assistant. It was oddly satisfying, like pulling out the stitches from a wound that never really healed right. The next morning my phone lit up with a message from my dad. Hey, I'm just a heads up, the mortgage bounced. Can you check your account? I stared at it. No greeting. No thanks for fixing the wife. Just another expectation, another task. I typed. I thought the house belonged to Adam. Maybe he can check his account a minute later. No response, just the little scene check mark for the first time in years. I didn't feel anxious, I felt free. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't start loud, it starts quietly in small dismissal ways, like when I was 10 and Adam got a bike for his birthday, and I got socks, or when I got into the art program at the state college and my mom said, "That's sweet, but Adam's got a real shot at business," or the time I came home from my third part-time shift in one day and found out and playing video games in the living room, the electricity bill sitting unpaid on the table, even though we'd all agreed I'd cover groceries, and he'd cover utilities. My parents used to say I was the study one that I didn't need as much that Adam was still finding his path for over a decade. What they met was he gets to stumble, you get to sweep. After I found the will, I didn't tell anyone else, not Adam, not my dad, not even my best friend. I said my piece to my mom. Then I walked out, no scenes, no begging, just silence. But I stopped answering texts that said, "Can you Venlo for the groceries? I forgot my card." Stopped adding toilet paper to my Amazon order for the house. Stopped driving over every weekend to fix things real quick, because Adam's not good with tools. I waited. First, nothing happened. A week passed, then like clockwork things began to crack. Adam texted, "Hey, did you cancel the Wi-Fi?" They soon kicked me off. I replied, "Not my house, remember." He didn't text back. Then came my mom, "Emily, the water bill's overdue. Was there a problem with your card?" But there wasn't. My card was fine. My patience wasn't. I didn't answer, not out of spite, but because I was testing a theory. If I stop patching the leaks, will anyone else pick up a bucket? Spoiler: they didn't. By the end of the month, the garbage wasn't picked up, the electric bill had late fees, and Adam's job interview fell through. Something about technical issues and bad timing, and through it all I said nothing, because I'd spent years explaining myself. Years negotiating for basic respect, yours, defending boundaries no one else cared to maintain. I was done narrating my worth. The silence unsettled them. It could tell there was a shift in tone. My mom's tax cuts after my dad started adding "hope you're well" to his messages, like he'd learned it from a corporate email chain. Adam even left me a voicemail that never happened. "Hey, so I think maybe we should talk about stuff." The will was maybe not done super clearly. I think it was like a draft or something. I did. Mom and dad handled it anyway. "Hope you're good." I didn't call back because that voicemail wasn't about clarity, who about control. And I wasn't giving them that anymore. But here's the funny thing about space: once you make it, you start to see what was always there. I started noticing how tired I was, not just physically, but in my bones, in the way I'd start cleaning my apartment and stop halfway through, not because I was lazy, but because I'd already used all my energy fixing a home that wasn't even mine. I started going to bed earlier, cooking for myself, listening to music that didn't remind me of anyone. One night, I pulled out a dusty canvas I hadn't touched in over a year. I painted until 3 a.m. The next morning, I looked at the mess in my living room and felt something strange, joy. And that's when it hit me. I'd been trying to earn a place in a house that was never going to be mine, not emotionally, not legally, not spiritually. It was never about the will, it was about the decades of small choices that made the will inevitable. And the scariest part, I hadn't found that folder. I probably would have kept giving out of habit, out of love, out of the belief that maybe, just maybe, being loyal long enough would turn into being valued. Doesn't he just turns into being used? So I didn't wait for them to fix it. I didn't demand a new will or a second chance or some magical rebalancing of fairness, and started building something of my own. And this time it wasn't for them. The first time I saw the listing, I laughed. Not out loud, not dramatically, just a soft, dry little laugh that slipped out like air from a tire. It was Lorraine again, bless her nosy soul. He texted me a screenshot, looked familiar. There was the 18 Elm Street, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, new roof courtesy of me, upgraded plumbing, also me, charming vintage tile in the bathroom, me, and a full weekend of back pain. And then the asking price, $390,000, with a note, owner motivated house, needs some TLC. Key translation: Adam used duct tape on the downspouts and forgot to clean the gutters before the storm today. I stared at the photo of the house, the one I had spent years pouring time, money, and energy into, now sitting on the market like an awkward ex trying to look good on a dating app. And I felt nothing, no anger, no sadness, just a kind of quiet relief, because now the outside world could see it, to the cracks, the neglect, the damage, and most importantly, the absence, my absence. Since I hadn't stepped foot in that house since the day I found the will, but somehow watching it get list price dropped with words like motivated seller, And as his condition, it felt like closure. Meanwhile, my own life had started breathing again. I moved into a little fixer-upper condo on the edge of town, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, slanted floors and peeling wallpaper, sure. But it was mine, and I didn't need anyone's permission to paint the cabinets green or hang lights in the hallway. I started posting videos of the renovation online, just little things. At first, a time lapse of me removing the 1970s carpet, a voiceover about patching drywall holes that fall suspiciously emotional, a clip of me painting over old water stains with the caption, "Not all damage permanent, some of it just needs attention." He was meant to be for me a project, a timeline, proof I was rebuilding something after being erased. But people found it. A few likes turned into thousands. Comments poured in. This is the most calming renovation account I've ever seen. Girl who hurt you, because I feel it in the sparkle. Is this about a house or your entire family dynamic? I feel like you're saying things I've never saw said out loud. I didn't reply, just kept posting, kept building, because unlike the house I left behind, this one actually got better when I worked on it. Then came the knock. It was late on a Sunday. I had just finished repainting the kitchen trim and was sitting barefoot on the floor with a bowl of cereal and a sense of accomplishment. I wasn't expecting company, but when I opened the door, there they were, my parents and Adam, standing awkwardly in a line like they'd rehearsed it in the car. Adam looked exhausted, unshaven, sunken eyes, wearing the same hoodie he probably slept in. My mom held a manila folder in both hands, like it was an offering. My dad looked like he'd aged 5 years in 2 months. "Hi, sweetheart," my mom said, voice trembling. I didn't invite them in, just leaned against the door frame. "We need to talk," she said. "I figured," I said, crossing my arms. My dad cleared his throat. "The house, it's not selling, not even close. We had a buyer, but the inspection report, well, there's a mold issue. And the foundation, I'm shocked," I said flatly. "It's almost like someone didn't maintain it." My mom stepped forward, pressing the folder and to my hands. "We updated the well." I blinked. "Didn't take it. It's in your name now," she said. "Everything." We didn't realize how much she'd done until it started falling apart. The magical moment when people only notice your effort once you're not there to make things easy anymore. "I didn't come here for revenge," I said. "I just stopped fixing problems that weren't mine." Adam finally spoke, voice low. "Income cracked." "I didn't think it would get this bad. I thought you'd still, still what?" I asked. "Still cover your ass, still pay the bills while you played entrepreneur with mom and dad's retirement money, still show up every time something broke." He didn't answer, just looked down. "We made a mistake," my dad said quietly. "We see that now." I let the silence hang in the air. Then I spoke calm and slow. "I didn't walk away because I wanted to hurt you. I walked away because I finally realized you only kept me around for what I could give. And the second I stopped giving, I stopped mattering." They all looked like they wanted to cry or argue or bag. Instead, I said, "This is my house now. You're standing on my porch asking for my help. That's a sentence none of you thought you'd ever say." My mom reached out. "Can't we just start over?" I took the folder, held it. "I'll think about it," I said, "but not for your sake." And I closed the door, not slam, just closed, from quiet and final. I didn't open the folder. I didn't need to. It didn't matter what it said. They could have written me back into the will in gold ink, stapled a handwritten apology to it, and attached a gift card to Home Depot. Too late. The damage wasn't about the paper. It was about the years they watched me carry their house on my back, financially, funnily, physically, and still chose to hand it to someone else. You don't fix that with a signature. A few days passed. Then came the next predictable phase of guilt. My mom's Facebook page lit up like it was being managed by a crisis PR firm. Photo of a flower in a vase, caption, "Trying to stay strong when life falls up." Part a blurry photo of the house, add dust, caption, "When you give everything to your kids and they leave anyway." Then came the comment, "Sending hugs, Denise, your daughter will come around. They always do. Kids today don't know the meaning of family, right? Kids today also don't know the meaning of unpaid mortgages, mildew under the sink, or gaslighting wrapped in a thank you card." My dad chimed in next with his version of subtlety. "We thought our daughter had a heart, but I guess TikTok views are more important than helping family. First of all, I'm on Instagram second. If I wanted attention, I would have gone viral telling the story, but I had it not yet." Then Adam posted a blurry selfie, dark hoodie, blank face, caption, "Some people are only strong when they're looking down at others. Try being strong when someone needs you." I didn't reply. I didn't post. I didn't explain. But people started messaging me anyway. Friends from high school, clients I used to do freelance work for, a few followers from my renovation account who happened to recognize the house. "He is this about you? Didn't you say you paid for your parents' roof? This is ridiculous." Want me to comment, though I didn't want to fight. I wanted a moment, and when I was ready, I gave. Then one evening, I posted a photo, just one, the house to 18 Elm Street, a before and after, before bright paint, clean yard, sunlight, after for sale sign, brown patches on the lawn, a sagging portrayal, Adam never replaced. Then I added a second slide. A scanned page of the will, the one I had first read months ago. The one that named Adam as the sole heir. Slide 3, a handful of receipts with my name on them, roof replacement, HVAC, repair, mortgage payments labeled from my checking account. Slide for the text. From my mom, dated just 2 weeks after I found the will. Can you transfer $1,700 for the mortgage, deadline is Friday. And my caption, simple, my silence wasn't guilt, I just waited for the moment to tell the truth. That moment is now. I didn't take anyone, didn't name names, didn't accuse or explain. I just let the facts sit there like bricks. Within an hour it had over 2,000 likes. Within 3, my DMs were flooded. People were angry on my behalf, furious. But more than anything, they were grateful. I needed to read this. Thank you for saying what I couldn't. I've been the responsible one my whole life, and I'm done too. I didn't post ago. Then didn't need to. By morning my mom's posts were gone. My dad's profile picture disappeared. Adam's account was set to private. The silence felt cleaner. This time weeks passed. I kept renovating. I planted lavender in the tiny strip of dirt by my door, hung up my first framed print in the hallway. Yeah, a shot I took of light streaming through my bedroom blinds. I started teaching a weekly workshop at the local community center. Renovation as healing. Most of the class didn't even own property, but they showed up anyway with notebooks and questions and trauma in their toolkits. One woman, maybe mid-50s, pulled me aside after class and said, it's not just the wood you're sanding down, it's what they did to you. He got it. One Saturday morning, Lorraine called, your parents' house is back on the market, price dropped again. Looks like no one wants to take on the mess, I think. Anne hung up. I didn't feel anything, not joy, not pity. He just confirmation. Some houses fall apart when you stop patching them. Some people do too. A few days later, I got a letter, blue envelope, familiar handwriting. My mother, dear Emily, I'm not sure how to start this, so I'll just say it. I'm sorry, I was wrong. We were wrong. I don't know how to fix things. Your father isn't as strong as he used to be. We're scared. I don't know how much time we have left to make things right. But if you're willing, I'm still here. I folded the letter. I didn't hear it. I didn't respond. I placed it in the drawer beneath my desk, next to have used notebooks and old photos I hadn't developed yet. Things take time to understand. Some things don't need to be reopened. I didn't hate them. I just didn't have anything left to give to people who only saw my worth when it was too late. A month later, I hosted my first photo exhibit at a friend's cafe. The theme, structures that withstand weather. One of the prints showed a crooked fence posts with ivy wrapping around it. Another showed a small crack in pavement with a flower blooming through. One woman stood in front of a black and white shot of my condo hallway bathed in morning light. She turned to me and said, I don't know why, but your photos feel like they're speaking for someone who's been silent a long time. I nodded, mild, said nothing, because she was right. I spent my whole life thinking love had to be earned, that if I gave enough, stayed quiet enough, proved myself enough, I'd be chosen, I'd be valued. But now I know love without respect is just manipulation with better P and no I. No boundaries aren't cruelty, there's survival. Now I know walking away isn't giving up, it's waking up. There's still my family on paper, in memory, but not in my future. I finally stopped holding up the walls, and I never looked back. It's been almost a year since I closed the door onto 18 Elm Street, since I